Valley. Once again, we go back to Intoon Valley. A great little destination for Terran players here. This will help out a lot against the recent style, the recent annoyance of Zerg players. So let's welcome our two players into the TSL round of 8, the quarterfinals. We do have in the bottom right, spawning as the red Zerg, we have none other than TSL.Hyun.
Thank you, Cat's Pajamas.
Spawning in the top right as the Terran player, the yellow Terran player, it is NSH.Sting.
I don't have any follow-up to that, but yeah, Intoon Valley is interesting. Obviously, any tournament version of this map is not going to allow lower left, lower right, or top left, top right, because those positions are particularly imbalanced for Zerg. It's really easy to push from the third into their third, and so on and so forth. But as it is, this map has a couple of interesting aspects to it. You talked about the creep spread being a little bit more difficult here, and that's because the ramp going down obviously is a little bit harder for the creep to get going, but then also it's so wide open in the middle that it's easier to run around with fast-moving things like Hellions or Marines and slow down the pace of those creep tumors. But also, while the third is super safe on the one hand, it's also easily pushed because between the natural and the third is a very small choke area, and that's not ideal for rushing to a defense. So if you're not already in that position, you're in trouble. But you know what? Apollo, we might not even get there. This is, of course, not like a huge all-in just yet, but two barracks are up and queued.
Yeah, Sting is basically saying, screw you, all Zerg players out there. I am Terran and I will survive. And to survive, it looks like you have to kill your Zerg player as fast as possible here. He's going to go for 2 racks, 11-12 racks, or 12-13, I think it was. Not super fast, but decently enough, especially where he is currently waypointed down to the Zerg player. Which is of course going to help out the best case scenario here, waypointed straight to opponent on a multiple player map here. But it doesn't matter anyway, he's going to send out an SCV to scout cross map and just make sure that his opponent isn't cross position.
And I love this. I actually, not that I could ever possibly take credit for it, this is something I talked about on the State of the Game as well, where I said I think Terran players need to experiment a little bit more with the 2 racks. We saw a lot of that in early StarCraft 2. Of course, it never went away, but it's something that really checks back the gasless, queen-heavy, slow, ling-heavy style we're seeing these days, and with 4 more SCVs to join the other 2, my previous statement of this is not an all-in becomes a little bit less true. Of course, it's not like a complete all-in, but he's definitely hedging his bets.
And we do have Hyun pulling drones now, getting ready to intercept this, but he's going to have to try and pull down or prevent the bunker from going down and then get rid of the... He's actually not even building a queen, actually. He's actually saving all his money up for just nothing but lings. Maybe build a queen on the natural, actually, instead of the main to prevent it walking down. But Spinecrawler coming down too. So far, so good for Hyun in this defense. But will he be able to maintain this defense?
Well, it's hard. I mean, it can be so cost-effective for Terran. The first bunker does get placed down. Here come the lings. It's going to come really down to this. SCV's doing a great job blocking. The Marines are getting in the middle, though. This is where they get surrounded by drones and lings alike. And all of a sudden, the Terran attack is being thrown to the ground.
Yeah, that's really, really bad. Good position, though, there for Sting to actually prevent the anything getting around. It goes into that little hole there. But right now, we do have Hyun in a great advantage position. Has a lot of lings out. This attack, this rush is over. And now Hyun can concentrate on getting a new queen out, start just droning up. But he isn't, though. He's building more lings.
Now, it looks like actually we're going to have a fight in the middle of the map on his... Well, Apollo, I was going to say it's a mistake, but it turns out Sting's a total badass, and Marines are great. Now, the danger here is by still making more lings, he's basically saying, I want to win a fight, because if there's any kind of wall-in, or if the Terran can get an advantage like that, then he's going to fall dramatically behind, where he could have been ahead.
But with an Overlord, he sees on the natural that there isn't a command center gone down, so he knows that he can freely build more lings. But like you said, 1 more barracks, and he can get wall off here. The command center goes down inside the main base, and he's stopped producing lings now, gone over to drones again, but that's currently 10 lings, 6 coming, 16 lings. If this gets walled off on the natural by any stretch of the imagination, even if a bunker comes down, even if the Marines all sit on the ramp, this is not really going to work out too well for Hyun, but he is droning, he's building a spine crawl as well. I think he's so scared because he doesn't see a command center.
And I don't blame him. This is something I've seen, Zerg players endure tragically. I mean, you don't have scouting information. Even with the faster Overlord, there's no reasonable way for him to get in that base and see exactly what's going on. Like, you can sack the Ovi, but let's say you missed the barracks. Well, then what information do you have? You're just down in Overlord. So I don't blame him for quote-unquote kind of overestimating the potential of the Terran opponent here, because like you said, he doesn't see a command center. It's just that I would have liked for him to have made scouting lings and then built like 2 or 3 spine crawlers. I think that's the better answer. But he might get us around here and prove me wrong. Terran player trying to micro backwards. Good stutter step here, and the Marines are starting to pull out a little bit ahead, but I think there's too many Zerglings, and they will get weathered down.
Yeah, great trap there set by Hyun, hugging the Zonog Tower in the shrubbery. Almost.
You had to say shrubbery. Monty Python. Were they accurate on that? Do you guys actually say shrubbery?
Yeah. And
so
the Lings do set that trap and do catch Sting off guard, and now we are going to just go into this follow-up bio play. Telab down on the barracks, that means he will of course be wanting to get a stim. Potentially could get combat shields earlier. Kind of the all-round better upgrade, not really forced into one specific pass, but combat shield can be defensive, it can be aggressive compared to just stim that could be more aggressive. And with the combat shields, I think that's a good option considering his opponent could all in him here. It's a faster upgrade as well. And to be honest, I think that was a pretty smart decision for him to do that. But right now, Hyun has double gases, and there is the Roach one coming down. So he actually could be going for an all-in with 3 gases so early on. No, really, I don't think he's really looking to go layer with this gas. I think he's going to get speed, and he could throw down a Baling Nest, and then just wait for speed to be done and go for a big, big bust. And I'm talking like 20 Baling busts down at these barracks, Jeff.
Yeah, it could be that solid Roach Baling bust we've seen so much of. I mean, interestingly enough, too, here Sting is going for the pure bio. This is something we're seeing Terran players really, really strongly experiment with. I haven't seen a lot of success from it, but I'll tell you what, by the sheer weight of Terrans I've seen utilize this in tournaments, like we just came off of DreamHack Summer, I have to imagine they're experiencing a lot of success in practice or on the ladder, because it's that or they all have like a weird death pact where they're like trying to lose on purpose to get a buff or something weird like that. Which is obviously not a real opinion. I have to say that because there's idiots out there who follow. I have to say that.
There's idiots out there. You like slapped me at the same time. Like, what? So these Marines are walking across the map though. It's quite a handful of Marines as Combat Shield is finished here, but he's about to walk right into a wall here, and I've done that before in the good studio houses. There's a lot of windows all over in Sweden, and I've walked into a glass wall, and it's not pretty, and it's not fun either. And these Marines are about to experience what Apollo experiences once every other week. Roach's Ling's coming too. They're going to get surrounded. They're absolutely all going to die. And then the counterattack is just open and available to take.
Well, the worst part about this is that if there's a third there and the Zerg's not doing this strategy, this is a really cool attack. But when it gets there with your entire Marine force and you find out that you're actually walking out in shark-infested water, you're like, oh, okay, well, I'm completely screwed. Because these Marines... Okay, they're going to cut off reinforcements. It looks like they might do a counter here, but they're needed at home. That's a lot of Banglings getting more, but there's going to be some action. Queen doing everything she can to not die, and it looks like because of lack of targeting fire, she might actually live to see another day. Spinecrawl does go down. Queen's evacuating the premises, and Roach is coming back, but it's those Banglings I'm worried about. Whoa. There are Marines behind this, and this is a thick wall. Is
I don't know what he's really doing. I think this is really poorly executed. Look.
Oh my gosh! He's like, hey, look, I made Banelings. Are you ready for him? If not, I'll be back in a minute. He's getting ready.
It's because they were waypointed with the initial attack and they didn't change it. So I'm like, wait, you can't go with Banelings without anything else.
He's just going to make it bigger, though. Look at this. More Banelings, I guarantee you. Yep, there it is.
I mean, with 3 gases working off this, no layer, no investment late game. These are going to bust through, and this is actually hilarious.
He's already ready. He already knows.
This is so badly executed, actually. And there goes the barracks, and he does break down 2 barracks. A third one will fall down too, but he's sat up on the top here. He's got a tank coming too, and all he has to do is defend. He can lift up his main. He's got medivacs out too, and even though Hyun is still looking pretty decent here, is he going to break up the top though?
Yeah, he is. There's just too many Banelings. There's nothing that's going to stop. Even the Roaches are trying to help the Terran player right now and get in the way. That gets busted down. I think this will eventually get held off, but here's the thing about this all-in that I like. I mean, this timing that I like so much.
Yeah.
Look at it. There's nothing coming across the map. He's taking a third. He is making Lings, but those are more like defensive.
Yeah.
But check the Harvester count. I haven't even looked at it, and I guarantee you I know what
34 versus 28 SCVs, so actually pretty low here.
This is actually about as good as the Terran can come out, by the way.
Yeah.
That was if he doesn't abandon that ramp at the natural, he's dead right now.
Oh, absolutely.
He's absolutely dead.
Absolutely. It was just the way that Hyun put this across was absolutely hilarious. Though there are 31 SCVs, double mules, and the game's kind of almost in a And not so much equal, you know, even though the economy is pretty equal, the tech clearly lies with Sting. He's got combat shields, he's got stim, he's got tanks, he's got medivacs available. So he can actually not really equalize, but stretch an advantage here if he does this well with this medivac, for example, coming down.
I love this medivac, like you just pointed out. I mean, right now the Queen is the only answer for this. And as long as he gets a couple of stims and kills maybe a Queen or two, he can actually control airspace. And when he does that, this harass can slow down the Zerg a lot. But as we see here, the Queen is focusing down that medevac, and the Zerglings are doing a good job making sure the Marines don't have free reign, and the Queen will actually die.
Wow.
The medevac goes on its last legs, which means this is probably going to go home after it gets ran over.
I love what Sting's doing, taking the advantage he's got, even though it's not really a lead, but just taking that advantage and saying, well, I've got a tech advantage, let's see how I can slow you down. And what he's actually going to be doing here is just a kind of a finishing move, basically play Mortal Kombat here, try to finish him with a +1 attack and additional barracks. And we'll just build a big army and then walk across the map as Hyun will try to establish himself. Hyun with an infestation pit down, does have the bailing speed on the way too, very smart to do that, considering he sees no third base. He knows his opponent's going to 2-base all in him, basically. So he just needs to build a decently sized army.
Yeah, this is one of those silly drops. There's actually 2 tanks included in this drop. I always hate this.
Like here, but like above the bailing nest, I guess.
I guess.
You can't surely throw it in the main. Yeah.
It's just such a. It's one extra, like, it's going in and out of siege. I don't know. I've seen this fail so many times. I actually have severe
put
problems.
the tank on the high ground too.
That's pretty cool.
Wow, well, so much damage he can do here as we are given food behind us, but we'll hold on to eat that after. And the tanks are coming down, doing damage to the bailing nest. The bailing speed will get cancelled. Great little maneuver here with units on the ground too. 3 medivacs, almost over halfway of energy. Well, as I say,
well, this is a great drop. I mean, this is making me eat my words big time here. And we do see that eventually the spot. Oh, well.
Oh, Trents, PC. Okay, it's okay. Sorry, guys.
A little pump fake on the tank actually cost him a lot of units, but this push of the natural is just going to kind of move back and forth, and basically it's just cost effective is the bottom line. Like, maybe this isn't actual death blow, but this is the cancer. Well, no, that's a terrible analogy. This is. I can't even, what was I doing? Really? I was going to talk about standing in deathbeds and stuff like that. That would be weird.
Oh, Jeff. And the tank does die before getting picked up.
I can't believe that.
We're never going to be invited back to Casa TSL again. Anyway, so we are going to have the final push out here, and it is like a 2-base all in from Sting. Great little drop, but is Hyun going to be muster like an army together to actually deal with this? Bailing speed being coming out again. 3 infestors actually are the key in defending this. If he can get those 3 infestors out and in the army ready to go, need to get kitted up. We actually have a kitting making its way in from outdoors. It's kind of crazy, but.
There's a barbecue going on while we're casting.
And yeah, we have food outside.
That's our dedication to esports. But I want to say this attack is equal weight for both players. I really feel like if this army dies for the Terran player, he is dead. It's a functional all-in. But Hyun has got everything at risk here too. That is not a big enough fungal. He needed better than that. Running at the lanes, and it looks like the Zerg's starting to get worn down here.
Yeah, it looks like Sting was given enough time to actually know that the infestors were there, and now he's got a great position, 2-3 tanks behind, and
that's it.
Good game. That could have gone either way. Really could have gone either way that last fight if he landed the